So the brusho sheets we did last week, so they're all nice and dry and flattened down, and what we can do is that we can either use the pattern that is on the crab and paint around it, or use a black pen around it, leaving the crab with the brusho pattern, or we can leave the background as the brusho and paint the crab. We have to use a solid colour, so we've got to be acrylic, and I found that it is probably best to put a coat of white or even gesso. I've got any in this one, I don't know whether there is, because the colours, it's such a dense paint. What we can do is we can put a coat on so that the colours will.
So you've just drawn the crab on there.
Just drawn the crab,
okay.
Yeah. So I say pencil doesn't show up very well, so use a coloured pencil or something like a pastel pencil. Draw your crab on, and I will paint it out in white. See, it's even picking up some of the colour that's already there. So just paint the crab out in a white acrylic or some gesso. Gesso is what canvases are primed in. I suppose in theory you could use watercolour on top of the gesso if somebody wanted to have a bit of a play with that. So it is picking up a bit of the colour of the brusho. Have you got your background from last week? Bet you couldn't remember which was yours, could you? So I said put your name on. Paint gesso and just let that dry, so even the brush has come through onto that. Or we could use a pen and just block out the background, leaving the brusho to suggest the colours of the crab. Or what we can do is to paint the background. So what I've got here, could do it in black. I've got this lobster drawn out, and I say you might want to, if you feel like you've had enough of crabs and you want to choose a different picture, I have got some references as always. So I'm just going to take some blue and green. And I'm going to paint around the lobster. So this this is acrylic, so it will cover the brusho. Nice strong dark colours you need. Quite hard to see, isn't it, with the that's why you need a pastel pencil or a coloured pencil. Do the bits that I can see and then get a finer brush for doing the finer bits. I'm using about a half, 3/4 inch flat brush, which is useful for covering quite quickly, and then I'd use a smaller brush to get in where the tentacles and smaller areas are. So hopefully you'll get one or two pictures done tonight. We did a couple of brusho pieces last week, so you could do one where you paint the background and leave the brusho for the sea creature, and one the opposite.